Hello. The Divine Code reading for October 22nd. We're in the chapter Obligations to Revere and Fear God. Topic number 10. It is forbidden to mention any of the specific holy names which may not be erased. See topic Topic 2 above, chapter 1, topic 2 above, and even names for God in other languages. In a place where there is filth or an undignified situation, for example, a restroom or bathhouse, or where people are unclothed. See part 1, the end of topic, chapter 6, topic 6, for more details. Since this is degrading to God's name. Shulchan Aruch, chapter 85. So in a bathhouse or a restroom, it's considered undignified. And there's rules about what a person may speak about in that. It's not proper to speak Torah in such a place. It's not proper to bring a Bible into such a place. It's not proper to say the names of God. And what's being listed here, the names that may not be erased would be the first and second level of categories of names. There'll be the explicit names and the holy names of God. And it also includes the names of gods that are translated into other languages. So normally those names of God are categorized as in the third category. But at this time, attributed names, at this time, these names, the translated names of God, are being put in the category of not speaking in a restroom or in a bathhouse, in an undignified location. The word shalom in Hebrew is also a name of God based on Judges 6:24, and it is therefore forbidden to say shalom, peace, in a greeting while in such a place. Because when a person says shalom alaikum or alaikum shalom, it's a greeting that's used when it should not be said in such a place, because the person when they're making the greeting, they're using the name of God in the greeting, and it's understood that it's the name of God in the greeting. This applies specifically to saying it in Hebrew, but it is permitted to say the translation of the word shalom in other languages, since it is not considered God's name. That is not considered God's name. So in this case, it's a specific case where this name of God, it's considered a holy name, but it's not quite on the same level as a Torah expressed holy name of God, and therefore it would not be permitted. It's in that in between category between the holy names and the attributive names. So to say it in Hebrew would put it up into the holy name category, and to say it in another language would be to have it in the attributive name category. Since it is not, this appears to be clear, as shalom is not a specified name, since people also used it as a given name. It is thus its translation, even if intended to refer to God, is only an attributed name and may be even mentioned in these places. Now, I have a friend whose name is Shalom. Whether I could say hello Shalom in such a place, that's not really being specified here. But in normal speech, if it's given as if it's in Hebrew, it's best not to say it in an undignified location. Attributive names such as the compassionate, the merciful, the faithful, and the like may even be mentioned in Hebrew in a bathhouse, even if one intends that it refers to God, since people are sometimes also described with these terms. This leniency is granted because the intent to say the person's name, Shalom, and is not to utter a name of God, Shulchan Aruch Harav, Orachim, chapter 84. So, my friend Shalom, I would be allowed to greet him with his name in such a location. Topic number 11. It is forbidden to destroy holy names and the writings, as this is a disgrace to God's honor and profanes his name. Minhag Kinuk, Commandment 69, in its Komet Mishnah, writes that one who erases God's name has done no less of a transgression than one who mentions his name in vain. And both are thus clearly forbidden for Gentiles. So to destroy the name would be on the same level as saying God's name in vain, which is, it's clearly that to say God's name in vain is considered forbidden for non-Jews. Thus, erasing God's name would also be forbidden for non-Jews. The Hebrew names which may not be destroyed are, and then there's a number of names here which were mentioned earlier in this section. The two explicit names, and then a list of what's considered the holy names, and these names are readily available in rabbinic works, or you can see it in the Divine Code, or you can find it in various places where it's explained as such. Certain names that are a list of names that are forbidden to be erased. Even to erase one letter from one of these names is forbidden, and that's Shulchan Aruch Yeridea, chapter 276. So these names, when they're written out, it's forbidden to erase even one letter from the name. Because if a person erased one letter, or even a part of a letter, that would no longer be the name, and therefore that would be desecrating the name. However, if one only wrote part of the name, such as Shad, from the larger holy name of God, since he does not complete the names, he may erase them. As Shulchan Aruch and Rima Yeridea, chapter 276. So if the person starts to write the name, but it's not been completed yet, then he hasn't actually written the name at that point. And what's written down is not the name, and therefore it will be permitted to erase at that point because it hadn't been completed. The name at that point has not yet been written, and therefore it would be possible to erase the partially written name. If there is a need to do so. However, it is forbidden to disgrace them. So if there's a need, if the person needs, he starts writing the name, and he realizes that the letter that what he's going to write may not be kept. He's writing something that may not be kept, and he decides, I don't want to deal with the shotness issue of having to bury the name properly, going through the whole difficulty with that. So instead of creating a document that he cannot get rid of, he decides, okay, he's written a couple letters, he decides to erase those letters. For that purpose, might be okay to erase the letters. But otherwise, if he already had the intention of writing, there's a certain level of holiness that's already there because he intended it. And therefore, he can't just willy-nilly erase the name for no reason. He has to have a reason why he's erasing the partial name that he started to write. Topic number 12. It is likewise forbidden to write holy names for no reason, as they may come to be disgraced, especially since their very writing for no reason is a disgrace to God. Sishokanor Harav 32:14. The author of our text compares this to mentioning God's name for no reason, as explained above in topic 4. And according to this, the opinion that holds that the prohibition against mentioning it applies even to its translation. This equally would apply to writing them as well. According to the opinion that permits it, cited in footnote 40. That was in yesterday's reading. It appears that one may write it for no reason also, but it is only forbidden to disgrace it by throwing it out, as explained in Akitzer, Volume 3, Chapter 32. So, a person should not just write the name, one of the names of God, one of the holy names, or one of the explicit names, or one of the holy names of God should not just be written out for no reason. The person's doodling and writes out the holy name of God. Well, he shouldn't do that, because now the piece of paper, he can't, he has to treat it with a reverence. And it's sort of a hassle, and people might discard it because the paper, other than the holy name being written on it, is not something worth keeping, so they might discard it. So the person doodles on some utility bill or something because he's just passing the time of day, writes out the holy name. Now that utility bill has to be treated with reverence, and it can't be thrown out, it can't be burned, it has to be buried along with other similarly written pieces of paper with names on it. It has to be buried somewhere, and that's a hassle. So to prevent the inadvertent throwing away of pieces of paper with holy names written on it, they say just don't write it down unless the person is doing it for a good reason. They're writing something significant, and therefore they're going to treat it with significance. Then the name can be written down. But don't create a situation where it might be discarded in an improper manner. Although technically it's permitted to write the name for no reason, it shouldn't be done because it'll just lead to a problem. Thank you.